Hello there, pre-algebra students. Welcome to the end of chapter 3. We got to wrap up this addition and subtraction stuff, and we're going to do that now as we look at mixed numbers. And you probably could do this. Some of you could probably do this or figure it out on your own, but let's talk through it quickly together. Some of the problems get a little bit tricky here, so put your name on this paper if you've not yet done that, okay? We are talking about unlike fractions, and basically unlike fractions mean fractions with different denominators. Okay, and we've been looking at that this week, but we've not yet looked at it with mixed numbers. So we're going to talk about how to add, and I should say and subtract. We're going to talk about how to add and subtract mixed numbers, and to do that you need to change them to improper fractions. And then find the least common denominator. Okay, the least common denominator. Well, we've been talking about least common denominators here this week. And as you know, in order to add fractions with unlike denominators, you have to rename the fractions with common denominator. And here's an example of a question that we've done. If you have 2/3 and a half, you have to get that common denominator like they did here with the 6 to add the top numbers and change it back to a mixed number when you're all done. You do the same thing when subtracting. You just subtract the numerators and move from there. So 1, 2, and 3, those are actually questions we've already done. So I'm not going to take time in the video for this. I want to get on into the mixed numbers. So this is a quick way to get through the first page. Turn your paper over and you won't see this, but I will tell you I'm going to refer to this if you have your 20 by 20 times table. When you do any addition of subtraction, since we're not using calculators, this can be a big help for you. Okay, so I will show you how to use that in questions like this. Now you're on the back of your page, as we're going to tackle these couple of these questions here and a couple of subtraction questions and hopefully call it good. Well, let's go with this right here. Number 4, like we said on the other side, we want to change this to a mixed number. So to do that, we take the whole number 8 times 12 plus 5. We call it check mark. You've had this times that plus the 5. Kind of makes a check mark looking thing. 8 times 12. Well, guess what? We have that right here. We have 8 and we have 12 here. So if we come down to the intersecting point right here, 8 times 12 is 96. Okay, that just made my life a lot easier. So I've got 96, but then you got to add that 5. Remember, you add the numerator. 8 times 12 is 96 plus 5. We add that together, and that comes out to be 101. And the bottom number is still 12. We're going to keep that the same. And then if we do the same thing with 11 and 1/4, again, we could go back here. We could go 11 times 4. Here's 11. And here's the 4. See the intersecting points right there? Okay, so 11 times 4 is 44. So we've got 44 plus 1 is 45. All right, well, we're halfway there now. But what we've got to do now is find, we've got 12 and 4, and we've got to find the least common denominator, just like we did last week. Okay, so to do that, got 12 and 4. Let me make some things disappear here, make our life a little bit easier. We said we had 12 and 4. That's where we start at the 4 and we picture our table. We just go down the column of 4 and the column of 12 until we find something in both columns. Well, it can't be 4 or 8 because 12 is too big for that. But look what I ran into right away. I ran into 12. 4 goes into 12. So that is my least common denominator. Okay, it's the least common denominator of 12 and 4. All right, so we're just going to use 12. And to turn the 4 into 12, you're going to multiply it by 3. Alrighty then. So I am going to multiply this side times 3 times 3. I'm going to multiply the top and the bottom both by 3. I'm not going to change this one here, just times 1 over 1. If you want to think of it that way, you can. But that's 101 over 12. Bring that down. Please work down your page. I know we went across the page that one day, which I did not like doing, but it worked better for that particular assignment. Please continue to work down the page just like I'm showing you here. in the work. Okay, 45 times 3, we've multiplied that out. I did that for you earlier. That comes out to be 135. And the bottom number, 4 times 3, is 12. All right, so now we are adding 101 plus 135. And that comes out to be 236. And remember, the denominator stays the same, 12. Now, we want to change this back to mixed. So we want to know how many 12s go into 236. All right, guess what? We can do that right here. If I go down to 12, so here's what we're doing. I think it was 236 12ths. I'll do it here, but you're doing it on your paper. I'm trying to figure out how many 12s will fit into 236. So I'm going to go across here until I hit the 236 without passing over. So there's 120, 156, and keep going. There's 216, there's 228 and 240. So it should be in between here. So I'm going to stop on this one right here because you can't go over it. So 12 will go into 236. Now go up here. Let's see what number is up here. That's 19. That means 12 goes into 236 19 times without passing it. But here's the deal. Since I only made it to 228, I have to figure out how many more will it take me to get from 228 to 236. So we'd add that up, and that comes out to be 8. So we have 19 and 8 twelfths. All right, now hopefully you notice that we cannot leave this fraction because I can reduce that. I can divide that by 4, and I can divide that by 4. So it actually ends up being 19 and 2/3. And that is what that question comes out to be. That was a tricky one there. It was a lot of work. The numbers got a little bit big, but it shouldn't be anything we can't handle. Let's try number 5, and then I'll probably stop the video, and then I'll show one on subtraction and call it good. If we're going to do number 5, same idea. We've got to change this to mixed. Okay, 2 times 3 plus 1 is 7 thirds. Keep it negative. Plus 7 times 2 is 14 plus 1 is 15 over 2. All right, we've got 2. We've got 2 here. We've got 3 here. So the least common denominator is going to be 6. You can find that on the table, or hopefully by now you can see that 6 is the first number they will both go into. And then we have to multiply them both by 2 over 2, or this by 2 over 2. So that gives me 14/6 here. I have to be careful. I forgot that was a negative sign. I forgot to bring it down. Oh, it's right there. I just lost it. Negative 14/6. This one, the 2, I have to multiply by 3 to get that 6. So I have to multiply this 15 times 3. It is negative, so that's negative 45. Okay, add the numerators. Negative 14 plus negative 45. That comes out to be negative 59/6. And let's see if I could figure this out from my table. Negative 59/6. Okay, let me clean this up a little bit. It's negative 59/6. We're going to change here in just a second. All right, so I'm going to start at the 6. I want to know how many 6s will go into negative 59. So I want to hit 50. I want to get close to 59 without passing it. There's 54 to 60. So I would have to stop here because if I go to 60, that's too many times. 6 goes in there 9 times. Okay, so it goes in there 9 whole times. Negative 59/6 goes in 9 times. And then I want to get to 59, so I need 5 more. See how I'm 5 short of 59? 54, so that leaves 5 out of 6, and it's negative. So it's negative 9 and 5/6, which is the answer to number 5. Negative 9 and 5/6. All right, I'm going to pause the video here and start the next one and hit subtraction and call it a day. Don't forget to watch part 2.